This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of bringing in the founder of 305 Fitness. We are on audio, but we are dancing like no one's watching. Sadie, welcome to Halo Talks, finally.
I'm so happy to be here. That was an incredible intro.
No problem. No problem. I didn't practice as much as I wanted to last night, but that's the best it's going to get to start. So look, you've made it through the pandemic. You've shifted your business model, ebbed and flowed, coming out the other side stronger and sweatier than you were before. So give us a little background on why you got into this industry originally. We'll talk about what you built and where it's going.
Yeah, thanks so much. Well, 305 Fitness is a dance cardio workout with a live DJ. Started it in 2012. I was teaching classes, kind of these Zumba-like classes on my college campus. And, you know, I was a talented instructor and I could fill the room and I could count the bodies in the room. And I knew that I was bringing the gym all this money. So I thought to myself, why not, I don't have equipment here. Why not rent a space and teach it myself? So very just simple asset light model, began with a lot of hustle. I was teaching out of rented dance studio space, a weird bodybuilding gym, until we built this following and then opened the first studio in 2014. The next few studios, we have 7 studios in total now across Boston, DC, and New York, and got really interested in how to scale 305 beyond the 4 walls in 2019 when we started our instructor certification program. So that's basically a business model. We're taking a page out of Zumba's playbook or CrossFit's playbook. It's a train the trainer model, super lightweight franchise. And that is the business that in the time of the pandemic, when all of our 7 studios were closed, that we decided to really push forward that and our digital streaming like many boutiques did.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you first started your first studio, did you feel like you were doing research and saying, hey, there's a space for me if you kind of stack up all the brands? Or did you say, look, I've got personal experience. I know what I'm good at. Whatever data or research you're going to show me, I've got something here. There's special sauce and, there's more than you think.
Yeah, I think 305, the white space, it comes from both gut and data, of course. I knew that we were onto something because the classes were all selling out with wait lists and marketing expenses were zero and retention was really good. So I knew all of those things before we decided to open the first location, but also the gut instinct. At the time when I started 305, I was 21 years old. I'm a female. I'm very in the demographic of the next generation, basically of consumers and the people who are making consumer and healthcare decisions, we know are women. So it just didn't really feel like there were a lot of brands that were serving people like me. And I wanted to create something just from my gut that I knew would exist. I think the other thing that really gave me, other than just knowing that the kind of new consumer and the new woman isn't sold on an aspiration of exclusivity and thin at all costs and performance and leaderboards. She's sold on the aspiration of inclusivity and confidence and owning her truth and feeling like there's a place to love her body. So that's very much the aspiration or the cultural white space that we occupy is something that's inclusive, not exclusive. But I think that the other thing that just gave me a lot of conviction and continues through all of the challenges continues to be the fact that I point back to is the IP. It's the actual format. There's so many fitness formats that they're not really a format, they're a brand, right? So it's like, well, we do spinning, but we do it with the lights on, or like we do it with, the instructors wear orange shirts where we are. And like all of that is cosmetic. But at the core of 305, we have IP. We have a 45-minute format that makes a lot of sense. And it's the only format I've ever seen that actually takes dance, which is so variable. It's not like, rowing, boxing, cycling, running. There's a couple ways you can do those things. Forward, backward, side to side. Dancing, there's got to be, there's endless permutation and innovation in this category. And so most dance classes, it's just memorized choreography. And what I did at 305 was I created a format that is basically creating a language around dance. That's where the train the trainer model came from. But at its core, it was, wow, we're onto something here product wise that no one else is doing well in fitness in terms of dance. We just really serve it so well.
So, for the listeners here that are working on new programs or, have something inside their club that they're trying to scale out to other clubs or studios, how much time did you put in to really nailing the experience and nailing the format? Because I feel as if a lot of companies try to grow really fast and then they try and kind of fix the programming to make it scalable. So maybe give us like your entrepreneurial hat on of take the time to do it right, document it properly, and then make it so you are personally scalable.
Yeah. I mean, in fitness, I think it's all about the format. If not, then you got to go out and raise a lot of money so you can just acquire customers off of a brand, or you stay small, and you have your local approach, which is fine. So the other levers to scale, like one of them is the actual product, right? And a winning product at the end of the day is what wins. It just has to be. So the time that I took to develop the actual class, yes, it was years. I mean, years of both being in a low pressure, me just teaching on college campus, trying this, trying that, probably over thousands of classes, literally, of just testing different things. And also, interestingly, at 305, it really came from collaborating with a DJ because the whole class is music centered. So it's really not about, I made these 50 dances. I want people to learn these 50 dances. That's my format. No, it's actually about counts of 8 and how often you change a move and what the beats per minute are. That's what leads to this constant innovation and this constant spontaneity you feel in a 305 class, is that it gets to be 100% music driven and music centered. So it was very much the format's rooted in musical principles, I guess you could say, as well as a movement vocabulary that we train our trainers in. And yeah, all of that, like the stuff behind the curtain that you don't see in the class, that took from just so many years of experimenting, me as a sole teacher, until I found a format that made sense. And then I had the challenge of, okay, how do you teach people how to do this, right? This thing that feels so spontaneous and natural. So that was always the goal, because I always loved teaching people. I wanted to see other artists and dancers be able to go out and do this incredibly empowering thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, one thing that definitely resonates from people that have taken the class, who are avid users that I know, as well as, what kind of oozes out of your website and some of your YouTube videos, you really have created a special culture. And it seems like there's not a lot of egos involved, that everyone kind of feels part of a mission or a movement, if you will. So how have you kind of been able to balance getting the best instructors, but also having them, operate under 305 and not necessarily be overly about their personal brand, which a lot of studios seem to have, for better or for worse, it just kind of evolves that way.
Well, I think that again, it in part does come back to the format. So an example of what you're talking about is, in the return from the pandemic, a lot of instructors deciding, do I want to come back? Do I not want to? Maybe I started my own virtual thing. We have over 90% of our staff returning to our studios after 14 months of being furloughed. Most studios, I think it's something between like a quarter and half, with a lot of locations shut down. We don't have that. There really is a true loyalty to 305. And I think that a lot of studios do that just through stuffing, cash in people's mailboxes, or guilting them, or putting up non-competes that don't hold, And again, what does it come back to? The format. If you don't have something that's ownable IP, you're asking an instructor to create the playlist, create all the movements, show up and teach the class. Okay, so you're giving them marketing support and you're giving them basically the business tools so they can show up and do their thing. But when you teach 305, we're letting you into this world of how we do things. This is not like, again, it's an ownable format. So you're teaching 305. You're teaching 305. You're not, it doesn't feel like you're teaching a dance cardio class by X instructor. So in some ways, I think just the incentives are more aligned, because it's kind of, I don't know what the equivalent is. It would, I don't know. It'd be like working. I don't really know. It's just the format really is front and center. Yeah. The DJs control so much of the experience. I haven't seen any instructors we've ever had who have left, who have started a dance cardio competitor. Again, we just do dance really well. And then, like you said, there's just the culture of listening to people, of wanting people to know that they are taken care of in our community. We do the very best we can. We have transparent leadership. I'm always working on myself in a very open and authentic way. No one thinks that I'm perfect. And I own my mistakes pretty openly. So I think that, yeah, it's culture and what we've built, but more importantly, I really think that it's the format. I think that's why instructors show up, is because I love this format. I love teaching this format.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a yearning for people to have an experience that's the equivalent of going to a nightclub or a dance club without having to buy the bottle of Grey Goose or stand in front of a velvet rope. As you've looked at your business model and have talked to investors in the past, I've looked at a number of studio concepts where they've moved from a DJ to, a curated playlist, either something that is from corporate on down, or they create their own playlist, which has its level of, personal ownership of the instructor, but maybe sometimes they go along their own route and it kind of deviates from the programming side of it. So how steadfast have you been about it? There's a DJ in every class. This is the experience. I'm not going to change that because I could save X number of dollars by not having a human there, and I could just use iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, it is the class. So we've been steadfast in the commitment because it is the class. Instructor shows up, instructor doesn't know what music is going to be played. That's the beauty of 305. That's why our customers are sticking around 4 or 5 years later, because it really doesn't feel like you've got the same old playlist. So
Gotcha.
That's the music is just so important to the format. It is the format. So the instructor gets to kind of show up and perform in some ways and just connect.
Yeah. Actually, without, you always say that take the best people and put them with their strengths and don't put any other obstacles around what they need to do with that experience. Kind of a pilot of a JetBlue flight, also isn't walking the aisles or isn't giving, the safety tips and so on and so forth. And there's someone else responsible for that. So I think there's something to be said for having people stay in their lanes and being experts at what they do and not having to scramble about the anxiety related to what's my playlist. Am I on beat? Am I plugging in the iPad? Did I forget my Mac at home? So I think that's interesting about how you set up the business model kind of in parallel with like two experts, both having the entertainment value inside the class.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you brought on some interesting strategic investors. You want to talk a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah. So through the years, we've been so lucky. We've gotten the support from some incredible angel investors. A lot of them founders in the fitness space that have had huge exits. So it's just really remarkable to have their support. We've also gotten the support of some angel investors in Hollywood and media spaces who just have a great sense for where trends are going and have been able to open many doors for us. Recently, we raised some capital and brought on a couple more institutional investors, which was nice, just to have the capital to be able to expand. And now we're raising more money so that we can expand the instructor certification program, that kind of train the trainer model, and scale what is this beautiful thing that just totally works in a couple of key markets on the consumer side, be able to scale it through people all around the world. So I'm really excited for that next chapter of growth. We have 1,000 instructors right now, and we're gunning for 25,000 in the next 3 years.
That's amazing. So talk to us about you being an entrepreneur, March 17th, 2020, how you mobilized and really pivoted hard into the digital side.
Yeah. So let's see, pandemic is hits New York, or there's, murmurs of it in late February. And everyone was in denial. And, that was pretty much it. I mean, my COO turned to me and he was like, "This is serious," showed me a clip of what was happening around the world. And I was like, "Oh, got it. This is serious." I don't know. I mean, I think people were just kicking and screaming. And I think that when it comes to business and unknown, unfortunately, a lot of people don't always act with a lot of integrity. They'll wait till someone else makes the leap. So we were literally the first. I think it was March 12th that we sent an email saying we're closed and it's just the right thing to do, and everybody go home. Not knowing that landlords would work with us, not knowing if it was going to be 2 weeks or 2 years, and not knowing really how we were going to pull off just saying we're closed. We made the leap in what felt like months before anyone else, because at that time days felt like years. But
sure.
showed a lot of integrity from the start. moved everyone online to YouTube. Again, the plan wasn't monetized. The plan was just like keep people safe, do the right thing, take a stand, still give people an emotional outlet. This time is going to be hard. Real leadership is needed. And we just built this incredible community on YouTube, truly by accident, where we were doing these live classes throughout the entire summer of the pandemic, that insane summer, when we thought takeout was going to poison us. It's like so needed. And we literally would have like 1,000 people tune in every day. You'd have people tuning in from around the world who would, be like, oh, I'm just sitting here eating dinner, but I'm watching you because you're so positive and it's amazing. And that, just showed me like the value of 305. It's just, it brings people in, it makes people feel seen. It's a happy place. It's a Disney World for people. So we built that all for free, just gave back to the community, did not worry about the money. We just said we have to do the right thing and we're going to build this audience and the pandemic will be over. So let's just keep cash, as on the low end as possible, but not try and make any fast moves. And then in the background, we worked on a virtual platform that we could feel really proud of with a lot of really good content that's filmed in our studios. And, we took some time to get it right. So we launched that platform in September. It's $29 a month. It's 305 at home. And that's been awesome. We have, well over a couple thousand subscribers on that platform. Retention is strong, especially for a product where we don't have that hardware component to lock people in. And it's awesome because it's affordable and it's easy and, you can take it on the go and you can still access 305 from anywhere through this unexpected virtual channel that we launched.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations on putting that together and the success. As you look at probably, the leader that kind of created part of this teacher training space and distributed networks, if you will, to take, more of a strategic business school term. Zumba's obviously had a lot of success worldwide. So as you look at 305 and you say, look, I could get to where they are at some point, but I'm going to do this at my own pace. And I'm going to bring in capital to kind of hit each one of the milestones. You seem very deliberate in consuming capital, using it properly, building it, then going out and being methodical about it. How do you maybe kind of talk a little bit about that, what your comfort zone is for the entrepreneurs out there who are, building their business and not trying to, take in rounds that maybe more than a company can take on and add that layers in, added pressure to perform or to grow at a pace that just might not feel natural to you.
Yeah. I mean, I've certainly never had the experience of being so overcapitalized that we like burn through money. I've always had the opposite experience where we like have to, prove something with very, very, very little. Especially the boutique fitness space, like operating a boutique fitness studio concept in major markets from 2017 to 2019 was just about like the hardest business challenge of all time. Just so much competitive pressure, so expensive to operate, So have been forced to take in capital and be able to do exactly what we said we were going to do with it and then get to the next milestone. There's obviously positives to that. I think one of the positives were, had we taken in a ton of capital and with our studio business without the vision for certification, we probably would have opened like 50 to 100 of these and realized that some of them were bad bets. And we know some players where that shook up like that. Right now we're in the phase where we're trying to grow just our instructor certification program. So we're saying 305 is this huge consumer brand. It can be bigger than Zumba. Zumba has 15 million people that take a Zumba class every week and hundreds of thousands of certified instructors. We're saying we can be the biggest fitness player out there with a number like that, 15 million consumers weekly. Wow. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that through studios in major markets. We're going to do that through a virtual offering. And most importantly, we're going to do it through this distributed network of certified instructors. We're going to do it differently, in a more modern way than Zumba has, because we're going to enable our instructors with technology and all of the things that it really takes to be a fitness instructor in 2020 and beyond. It's a lot different than what it was if you were taking a Zumba training in 2004 or whatever it was. So we're modernizing it. We're tech enabling it. We're really building just the most valuable network. So this young dancer, this mom, whoever it is who wants to get certified can feel confident that she can really unlock the full potential and the full money in her community that's waiting for her when it comes to fun and empowering group fitness. So I'm just excited for 305 to be everywhere. I really think it could be just a massive brand in fitness and in wellness. Like I said, it occupies this huge white space, which is no shame, no competition. It's not exclusive. It's not about metrics. It's about fun and
Right.
confidence. And who in the world doesn't want that right now? So I believe the market size is so tremendous for this brand. But to answer your question about capital, rather than raising $100 million to execute on that vision, we're just focused right now on growing the network part, the certified instructor part. We're going to grow that. And then we're probably going to grow, other revenue streams after that, or build more to support the network. So it is still building step by step to this bigger vision.
Yeah. So, one of the things that has been ingrained in me over the last year is for a bricks and mortar location to be attractive, I've kind of raised the bar on what is an acceptable potential return because of the amount of work that goes into it, because of the lease that you have to sign, potentially a corporate or a personal guarantee on that lease, hiring people versus the digital where, you basically taking 25 to 50% of your cost structure, out of that experience each time. So have you kind of recalibrated, I'm only going to open up studios that I think are going to be amazing because I'd rather put my money in digital if I don't find the spot, I'm going to wait for the best spot or I'm not going to do a studio.
Yeah, I think the truth is that if you build a studio in Tallahassee, it's not that much cheaper than building one in DC at the end of the day, but the potential is much greater in a dense market where your people are.
Right.
The price point's also different. So the studio business works really well when I think it's in the right neighborhood, the right location with people who want to spend $20 to $30. I don't think it works so well when you start to try and grow it to 300 or 400. I do think that there are some brands that are, I don't know, I guess the kinds of things that that just speak to a super broad audience, like Orange Theory. I can see how that just has appeal to everyone in a way that 305 is going to be a little bit more specific for who it's targeting for the studios. And I think that what's interesting is, certification can exist in basically everywhere else because it's the low capital way to expand. So it's still getting 305 out there, live, real. I believe that community is important. It's just saying that only some markets are going to support a $30 price point with a live DJ. And then other markets will support a $7 class. And that's a great place to have some certified instructors.
Right. Well, the average Orange Theory, the dollars per door opening, so the member per class is about $19.50 per visit is the metric. So I actually take that metric and apply it to other businesses. And if they're not getting to that metric, then it's probably not a great business model. And there's probably not enough revenue being generated on a per month basis to make a franchisee or a corporate owner like yourself excited about the time, effort, energy to make that work. So that's what I've seen. So in closing here, one, 305 Fitness. Where is this? What's the genesis of the brand?
Well, it's named after Miami's area code, which is where I'm from. And the idea is that we're taking all the fun elements of Miami that are, the DJ, the partying, the diversity, the sweat, the sex, the fierceness, but we are creating our own little Miami, a place where women aren't objectified constantly, where we're not asked to dance for the pleasure of other people. It's really just for us. And where body standards and body image is not held up as the number most important thing in the world, like it was for me growing up in Miami. So it's a bit of a subversive kind of celebration of Miami, but also saying, we deserve better as women.
Right. So all the good things about South Beach without the negativity that comes with spending time there. So do you have any good quotes that you live by or that you've come across to build our quote library?
My life motto is nobody cares. I don't know if anyone's taken that one yet, but
no,
nobody cares. Everyone is living their own story, their own life. And at the end of the day, you can just spend the whole time worrying what other people think. Nobody cares. Just live your life. Nobody cares at the end of the day.
I love that. That's great. Well, you've done a great job building the brand. Really impressed with how you've thought about methodically going into the digital and going into the teacher training, looking at other companies and what they've done right and what they've done wrong. And, excited to hear about your future raise and proliferation of 305. So for people to get in touch with Sadie, we'll have all the information in the show notes. If you're interested in potentially investing, we'll get you in contact with her directly, and keep doing great things.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun to be on.
Awesome. All right. We will see you in New York soon, and you will see me in one of your classes, probably in the back, but I'll be noticeable.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Yes.
I want to thank my friends at Burn, BRRRN, for sponsoring this podcast. They are the innovative company behind the world-renowned Burn board. Many of you don't know, I was one of the top roller hockey players in all of Nassau County back in 1988 to 1990. If I had a Burn board, watch out, I would probably be an NHL legend. Got a 7-day free trial on their on-demand library of hundreds of workouts, $30 off the purchase. Check it out at shop.theburn.com. We'll have it in the show notes. Use the checkout code HALO and go burn it on the Burn board. Ice hockey in your living room, at-home fitness, low cost, low tech, low impact. Go HALO, burn it up.